Because experts, quote unquote, in the United States have declared that in order for you to make really the best cup of tea, you need to add a little salt.
What?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And if there's anybody who shouldn't be talking about how to make a cup of tea, it's Americans. But British are really pissed off.
Sweet tea, though.
British are really angry.
Sweet tea. It's delicious.
So, you like sweet tea?
Southern sweet tea. I like sweet.
I can only drink so much of that because it's so damn sweet.
It's delicious.
Juice!
Hey, welcome back to our Stupid Reacts of Corbin.
I'm Rick.
And
you like Arnold Palmer's?
No, I mean, it's not. I don't like hate them, but I'm never going to be like, give me an Arnold Palmer.
I do in the summertime. If I want a little something extra, I usually get an Arnold.
Sure,
Palmer
if I was a little bitch, I would do that.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Today,
but you're a big bitch. So
we got a video from Tired and Refused Productions. This is called "Is Bollywood Scared of Taking Risks Now?"
Good question.
And so this is we've seen many videos from his channel. He does a great job.
Yeah.
And this is about basically how they're all, it's seemingly in Bollywood, trying to do these big mass films now because that's what's working. And then how as opposed to what it used to be, like playing these characters like PKs or whatever, like Swadesh. And so he kind of goes into it.
Interesting.
A little bit.
Cool.
So it'll be interesting discussion,
Yeah.
Here we go.
Wake Up Said, Rocket Singh, or even a film like Tamasha, maybe those won't remain big cinema films. And maybe when I pick subjects like those, I should release them on certain platforms like the OTT.
I feel that every filmmaker has a right to choose what he wants to make, and of course he should make what he wants to make, no questions asked. But then we also should be aware that if I'm choosing the subject, it is a niche subject. I must be aware of that.
I would like to tell only those stories which a lot of people would like to hear.
I did a film on AIDS and being HIV positive. Sir, कोई कुत्ता नहीं आया देखने के लिए pictures.
You know, I was watching an interview with Rob from Math Stuff with Rob that used to air on Pogo, where he did a lot of DIY videos. He was asked in this interaction on why he doesn't revive his show and return back to TV, with the same format that made him so popular. He said a very interesting thing regarding the same, and I feel it reflects on how we think about movies that we saw in our childhood and formative years too. The point being that the association that we have with films and why we love them so much in a particular era also reflect on the time we saw them at. The simplicity and the lack of choices that existed then, and when film analysis wasn't as analytical and saturated as it is today. The love that we have for a particular era doesn't necessarily wholly reflect on the content of the film, but the memory associated with it when we watch the film. It begs the question, did we really just produce better films 10 to 15 years ago, or are we just missing our childhood? I would love to know your thoughts regarding the same, as it's an interesting discussion.
Age-old debate.
Do we really want an SRK and Kajol film in 2025?
Yes,
or are we just reminiscing the feeling that they left us with during K3G, that we very well know cannot be recreated? Do we really want Imran Khan to return back to films, or are we just missing the abandon and lack of judgment with which we saw his rom-coms? Moving on to the video and its topic, I think the discussion regarding the limitation of Bollywood stars in the current environment to conform and present movies that are celebrated and successful financially became very clear to me the day the supposed collaboration of SRK and Vishal Bhardwaj dropped. There were actually fan wars on X urging SRK not to sign the project with Bhardwaj. Analysts saying how it isn't the right time for such a collaboration, as SRK has had such a stellar year financially. It made me think about the restrictive nature with which fans want to box their favorite stars, all in the fear to avoid a film that can be labelled as a failure. This is where the experimentation of Malayalam film stars like Mammootka is really admirable, where the audience doesn't turn on them for the experiments that they make and see it as an actor's creative pursuits versus having to conform constantly to cater to a large audience all the time. Through this video, I wanted to talk about some of the biggest experiments and risks executed by film stars, the reception that they received, and how probably because of these experiences, they find themselves in a rut to do commercial ventures we consider to be repetitive today. So here is Trident Refuse Productions with the question, is the golden era of Bollywood risks dead? Hrithik Roshan. I was just thinking about Hrithik's phase from 2010 to 2013 as an actor and just the range he presented with his roles. The man went from playing a quadriplegic magician seeking for euthanasia to a heartfelt coming-of-age road movie to recreating one of the most iconic roles from Hindi cinema in probably his most massy role till today, and ended up doing the third installment of his already successful superhero franchise. In just a span of 3 years, we saw a range of genre and pitch that is indescribable. While Guzarish may be Hrithik's biggest risk and turned out to be a financial failure, I think it is his most challenging and riveting role indeed, communicating the aching heart and existence of Ethan Mascarenhas with such effectiveness. While I love Hrithik in Kabil and Vikram Vedha, I think I'll always look back at Guzarish as his biggest risk that deserved way more love. Aamir Khan. I think if there is a Bollywood star who has constantly pushed the envelope in providing a new texture to cinema across decades, it has to be Aamir Khan. Having an understanding of screenplay and the universal appeal of storytelling like no one else. I think if you want to talk about taking a leap of faith with subjects that audiences are not used to watching, then you have to look at what Aamir did in 2001 with Lagaan and Dil Chahta Hai. He backed Lagaan as a producer when no one did, starred in the film knowing the risk that comes with cinema and its perception of heroes then.
All the people who I admire, whether it's Gurudutt, Raj Kapoor, or any of these, V. Shantaram, Bimal Roy, they've taken some very bold steps in their lives when they have chosen difficult films to make. If I admire these people and I want to be like them, then I have to be as bold as them as well.
And if you thought that wasn't enough, starred in the same year in a totally fresh coming-of-age story in the form of Dil Chahta Hai. That was as urban and original as Hindi cinema got, not only taking Indian cinema on the global map, but providing a rich new flavor to the kind of films audiences can expect from Bollywood. Backing innovative projects like Peepli Live and Delhi Belly is a testament to the same, and I hope Aamir never conforms and goes with his instinctual creative gut as he has for so many years. Ajay Devgn. I think a star who doesn't get enough credit for the diverse roles across genres and pitch that he executes is Ajay Devgn, a man who has constantly dabbled into the commercial and the solely creative projects. But one should look at risks by individuals at the time they have already become stars. And I think it's insane what Ajay pulled off in the year 2004. An example of a man who dabbled into the good, bad and the ugly without having an iota of fear of his perception. He featured as the antagonist in Khaki, did a carefree sex comedy like Masti, showcased his acting chops in the underrated Mani Ratnam film Yuva, and featured in probably his most understated and effective role in the form of Manu in Raincoat. The range from a commercial film like Khaki, where he played the villain so convincingly, to the broken and convoluted Manu in the Rituparna Ghosh directed film, was the range we should expect from actors without judgment. I love that Ajay still executes films like Runway 34 in order to execute his creativity as a director and actor, and I really hope we get to see the same diversity in his filmography, because I am still raging about the lack of updates with his upcoming film Maidan. Shah Rukh Khan. You might think I'm going to reference Swades as Shah Rukh Khan's biggest risk that never really got the love that it deserved. But I think from a character standpoint, Shah Rukh has executed much more complex roles that always bear the risk of getting ridiculed or rejected
My
by
name is
audiences.
Khan.
While the subject matter of Swades has aged like fine wine, I think it is a risk made by SRK with films like Ashoka, Fan and Zero, where he really put his blood, sweat and tears in providing the audience something truly unique. Producing a period epic when your production company is just at its infancy was such a huge risk.
Just my right ear.
Me too.
I agree.
A double role shedding light on star worship and the insanity that creeps in extracted one of the most dark performances by SRK. While I commend Zero's technical prowess, it is a film from a narrative standpoint that just did not connect with me. And even though SRK is in this phase of entertaining us right now, we loved these spurts of creative surprises that were dispersed in his filmography. Of course, the mass audience thought otherwise. Salman Khan. If there is one actor who has clarity about the kind of movies one should star in, especially if there is an expectation from them as a star, it is Salman Khan. He firmly believes in making films that entertain everyone, and if they do fail financially, he feels that they are simply bad films. With this sentiment that has been consistent throughout his career, I thought it was really brave of the actor to star in a film titled Phir Milenge in 2004 that was directed by Revati. In this film, Salman played the role of Rohit Manchanda, diagnosed with AIDS, and how his life topples upside down, ultimately leading to his death.
Not
A
even
strong
heard about
macho
that.
lead in most films, one just did not expect Salman to be this vulnerable and open to
Is
a
it a good film?
narrative that focuses on such themes. A rarity that I think never will be revisited. Akshay Kumar. Even though they say that Akshay Kumar conforms and goes with the tide dependent on what is working, executing several comedies in the mid-2000s and the patriotic or social message themes in the 2010s, I think Akshay does not really get enough credit for changing his own fate and tide in the late 90s, after delivering close to 14 flops from the period of 1996 to 1999. I think the risk, at least from a character standpoint, that actually became fruitful for Akshay was the 1999 film Janwar, where Akshay played the role of Badshah, who later is known as Bapu, as he leads an honorable life with his adopted son. The dark themes explored in the initial portions of the film where Akshay leads a life of crime, and the evolution of the character still comes across as one of his most effective character portrayals in a commercial movie.
I'd like to see
I
that.
actually think Akshay in movies where
Yeah,
the
how is it?
characters have a more twisted mindset like in
Is it 2.0?
Ajnabi is still untapped, as I think Akshay would make such a good villain in a big blockbuster movie. A conniving villain played by Akshay in Dhoom 4? Sign me up. Saif Ali Khan. I think one actor who can't help himself but be creatively stimulated to the offbeat throughout his career, especially when he developed such goodwill as a talent, is Saif Ali Khan. I really commend Saif for what he was capable of pulling off in the year 2006, where he not only played the scheming Langda Tyagi in Omkara, but also had a similar eerie presence in the eccentric yet thoroughly entertaining film Being Cyrus. The 2010s, while being erratic for Saif from a financial standpoint, showed us possibly the most exciting range known to anyone. A Race 2 would be followed by a Go Goa Gone. A Phantom would be followed with something like Chef. But nothing in my opinion comes close to the risk he took with Lal Kaptan. Still so vivid in my memory of the world building and characters that Navdeep Singh created, of the abandon with which Saif immersed himself in
remember
the
the
role
trailers.
of a Naga Sadhu. Still in my opinion a visual masterpiece that got totally ignored by audiences. While I see Saif in the Fahad Fasil phase of his career right now, where fans are frustrated that Fahad is only doing supporting roles in pan-Indian films rather than the films he was celebrated for in Malayalam cinema, Saif also is now only collaborating in these pan-Indian projects. I hope we do get to see the same wild Saif who went out on the limb to take such crazy risks. Ranbir Kapoor. There seems to be a clarity in the case with Ranbir Kapoor too. What is considered to be the golden age where Ranbir did understated and heartfelt films like Barfi and an inspiring tale like Rocket Singh is something that he himself acknowledges would not motivate audiences of a large number to see it on the big screen. So he has clearly pivoted in making sure that the event is formulated from a production and scale point of view to ensure his movies are exclusively for the big screen. Knowing his lineup with Ramayan 2 and his limited exposure outside of films, I think this is the strategy he does want to incorporate in the future, as he is seeing benefits for the same with the blockbuster response of his film last year. This is largely based on male superstars in Hindi cinema, but I also think women in Hindi films who have a large fan base are acknowledging that if they really need effective change of the roles they get and the themes that they can explore as leading ladies, they should use their position of power to trump stories that celebrate them. This is where I think Anushka Sharma was excelling as a producer and actor, giving space to talented actors who may not be considered to be popular faces per se, and explore themes and genres that are on paper considered to be huge risks. This is something that I see Alia Bhatt incorporate with her production company, backing a film like Darlings and giving space to actors like Vijay Varma and Roshan Mathew, and starring in a project like Jigra with Vasant Bala that allows for an exploration with a mainstream actress which is otherwise not being attempted. This is something that audiences expect from Deepika Padukone too, beyond the success of her blockbusters, to star and back projects like Chapak, so that there is an acknowledgement of the trade that Hindi film actresses are not just going to keep on playing second fiddle to leading men. This is where I think actors like Kangana Ranaut, Vidya Balan, Deepika and Alia were really excelling at in the mid-2010s, hitting it out of the park both critically and financially as solo leads in films. While there seems to be a dearth of the same right now, almost seeming like we had a golden age just a few years ago with female representation in Hindi cinema, I think it's important to learn from actors like Rani Mukherjee, who are still championing stories only meant for the big screen where she is playing a solo lead, and ensuring that these kind of stories simply do not get reduced to streaming services. It definitely is a tricky time to be at the movies, and I would love to know your thoughts on the lack of risks and the pressure that comes with box office failures on the same of our biggest stars in Bollywood. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead.
Yeah, the excellent video. It's a complicated issue specifically that we've always talked about for India. And it's obviously the stars, as it were, are pivoting to try to adapt to what the audiences want, or what they think the audiences want, and by financially, they're probably correct, at least currently. But it's because how much, and I don't know when it started, Indians have always cared and put so much emphasis on what a film makes in terms of box office. So, like, I've seen on Twitter before films come out, like, it's like, oh, no hype for this film. No hype before it comes out. I'm like, what? You haven't seen the fucking film yet. What are you talking about? You have to go see the film to see if it's good. But then obviously once it comes out, and if it doesn't make this amount of crores, it's a flop. And so now everybody's like, oh, don't go see that flop movie. And so it's like, like, if you put so much emphasis, the only thing that matters is the box office, you're just going to get these big films, and everything else is going to be regulated to OTT.
Yeah.
You could say that it's a phase and that it'll come back, because, I mean, I don't know how well 12th Fail did financially. I know audiences love that film, and it's one of the most popular films of last year, and that's a small film, so maybe the tide will change, because I think people will support good cinema, but will they get what the numbers that you need for your big stars?
Right.
Because that one had an upcoming star in Vikrant Messi, not a massive star.
Yeah.
But that's a film like SRK would have done back in the day. So it's such an interesting issue that's specifically for India, because here actors can kind of do whatever they want. Obviously, producer-wise, yeah, they'll be like, yeah, we need to make our money back. But no one in the audience is going to fault somebody if, like, they did a great performance and it didn't make a lot of money. They'd be like, that was a great performance. More people should have supported that.
Yeah.
Not call him a flop actor now.
No, the difference between, I mean, it's the difference between, and this is a huge, huge difference. People who say, with their creativity, whether they're an actor or a producer or a director, they say one of two things. Either, what do I want to say with this film? Or, what do they want to see?
Yeah.
When your decision making is about what do they want to see, you're not an artist. You're just not an artist anymore. Don't call yourself an artist. You're not. Because then all you're looking at is, what do I need to do to get people to buy tickets to this? Artistic integrity, anything you have to say, anything you want to do is only driven by money. That's it. I mean, and yeah, Barbie made $1 billion. It shouldn't have. Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig had something they wanted to say. Their thought wasn't, what can we get them to... It never is. It's just not. If you're a filmmaker, I don't know why the thought is in the mind of, I only want to do things that are going to make people come and see it. I just don't know how that stimulates you at all in any way.
Yeah, I think it's more they want to entertain a bunch of people.
No, they don't. No, they don't. If it doesn't make money, if they didn't do well at the box office, entertainment doesn't mean crap.
No, I'm telling you, that's what they're aiming for, is entertainment, meaning more people will like it and come see it. I'm saying that's why it's very specific, because they make certain films just for entertainment, not for critics, obviously, or awards.
Yeah, but that's another thing. You can make films for entertainment. You can make a film that's entertaining, but what if it doesn't make good box office? In the mind of many people, it's that film's no good.
Oh yeah, no, that's
that film was a failure.
That's definitely how some, especially like Twitter critics, think of films.
Yeah,
and we've seen on YouTube comments.
It's
like,
sad.
Oh, why would you see that flop movie? Because of what they call any film that didn't make a good amount of money a flop movie.
Right.
Regardless, like one of the probably best Indian films, especially of Shah Rukh Khan's career, Swadesh.
Yeah.
Why would you see that flop movie?
Unfortunately, that's what's been happening with Broadway.
Yeah.
Why do you think SpongeBob SquarePants has a show?
Great. It's a great show. It was a great show. For sure.
Yeah. It's because Broadway has started to fall prey to that reality. Thank God the West End hasn't.
Yeah.
But Broadway has started to fall prey to this whole mindset of we've just got to do whatever is going to make people come see the show versus I have something I want to say with my show. Yeah. So is Bollywood scared of taking risks now? I just, what do you, by risk? I think the answer to that question is obvious that, yeah, unless they have an idea in their mind about the fact that
at least the stars are,
it's going to, yeah, it's, I need to get as many asses in the seats as possible, and then my film was good.
I think Alia is doing a good job of not falling prey to that specifically. Whereas like Deepika has been in not I love Deepika, but like she's been in like every big film this past year. And I'm not faulting actors for doing big films. You got to make a living. I mean, Ian McKellen, he's like, Nasir in India is like, I do these films so I can do my other films. I understand that. So that's not really what I'm saying. But like, Deepika has been in like what she was in Patan, Jawan. She was in Fighter, and then she's going to be in the new Singham film. And so she's done all these big action films. I mean, maybe she's trying to build up a brand or whatever or people are trying to do. But then Alia has done like Darlings, and she's done the Sanjay Leela Bhansali film, and more. What was her other film that came out this year? Wasn't it one? She had another one, right? What am I missing?
Those are the only two I remember.
I thought there was another
in
one
the past year.
I think she's doing a good job of trying to pick, for being possibly one of the Rocky Irani. That was a commercial.
That was a commercial
film, but one I love. I think she's doing a good job of picking certain films.
But you would know and you would agree that the actresses and the actors that fall into the category of what we would define as making decisions based on this is what I want to say versus what do people want to see are Radhika Apte, Kalki Koechlin, Swastika, Nawaz, Manoj, Jaideep. Yeah.
But obviously, none of those
actors
are making any money.
The biggest annoyance for me in recent memory is what happened with Lal Singh Chadha, and all of the hate before anyone ever saw one frame of film.
Yeah,
it's just, yeah, it's very sad because there's so many things that I wish, movies are theater and theater is storytelling, and it's at its best and most elevated. It's an art form, and if your goal is to make money, then you're capitalizing. There's nothing wrong with making money with a film, but if that's the drive behind it, then your decisions aren't going to be based on art. They're going to be based on money. And I hate it. I hate it.
I would like to have money, though.
Not at the expense of my artistry. Never. No. Never. No. No amount of fame or money would ever get me to do things that compromise in the depth of my core.
Your anus.
Yeah, I just
Right in
that's
your
that's just I can't. It matters too much to me.
Right in your sphincter.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's just a phase, and because I think audiences are already getting tired of the big massy films. Like that's all that we're seeing.
I don't think they're getting tired of it. That's what's sucky about it.
I think they'll get tired of it.
The past year doesn't show that.
Well, it also depends on taste as well. Obviously, we have different tastes than other people do. So just because we think something is terrible, somebody else might think it's wonderful. Just
True,
like we
but
think
I mean,
something's wonderful
if you're going to look at the top box office,
that's true,
of last year, 12th Fail's not there.
No,
Joram is not there.
No, nowhere near.
Yeah, it's going to be Animal and Patan.
Well, that's how it is in Hollywood too, though. Usually,
No, it's not.
Usually the big.
No, thankfully, that's not true. That's why Marvel is crapping their pants.
But in the past, that's how it was.
Because the artistry was so good. That's why Marvel did so well, is because they actually had great story and great actors.
Sometimes.
Endgame was, that's what Downey should have been nominated for.
But no, like the Fast films, those make a fuck ton of money.
The Fast films?
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that's a decade ago.
The last one was 3 years ago.
Yes, but the bulk of their money-making heyday was back then.
The last one made more than any of the other ones.
So,
like, it's one of the top grossing films of all time.
Okay.
Fast whatever billion it is.
Okay, so
Fast billion.
So your argument then is that...
No, I'm saying it happens in Hollywood too. Like these big films, people aren't like us. They don't go for artistry. They go for entertainment.
Oppenheimer made $1 billion.
Nolan is his own beast. Absolutely.
Well, Tenet didn't make that.
Made it.
Barbie made $1 billion.
Yeah, I know, it was crazy. That whole Barbie Oppenheimer thing.
Yeah, thankfully, the box office successes this year.
But I'm not talking about just this year. This year was kind of, I think, an outlier.
I don't think so.
I think it was.
One of the films that did great at the box office and won Best Picture was Coda 2 years ago.
Coda? Oh, you talk about the sign language one?
Yes.
Oh, that didn't do like extremely well at the box office.
Yes, it did. After all of the attention that it got through awards season, it did great.
Well, for Coda, yeah, but not. I was like top 20 of the year. It wasn't in the top 20 of the year in terms of box office. That's what you were talking about.
No, I'm just saying I don't see a comparable comparison of the box office successes and the kinds of films that are box office successes in India versus
Jurassic
America.
Worlds, what was that movie that came out this past year?
Some
Mario.
of them are.
Mario came out this year.
Some of them are.
That's what I'm saying. It happens.
But it's not predominant, is my point. It happens, but it's not the predominant.
I think normally it is. This year,
I don't think so.
Different. Don't know. Most people go to the theater just for entertainment in every industry. That's not what we go. I mean, we go for entertainment, no doubt, obviously, but we have different tastes than normal audiences, which in India and in Hollywood, we have different tastes. Like, because Poor Things is not going to be one of the top grossing films of the year.
You might be surprised.
Top grossing, meaning top 20. It's not going to be anywhere near the top 20.
Yeah, you might be surprised.
I will bet you $1 billion
that it wouldn't be in the top 20.
Yes.
Okay. Bet you $1 billion.
You're just saying no for
no
reason.
That's not true.
How could you think that Poor Things would be anywhere near the top 20?
Because of how popular it is.
That doesn't mean it's going to be in the top 20 box office.
It could be in the top 20 box office.
No, it couldn't.
Why?
It has no chance.
Why?
Because it's not that style of film. People in LA who like that style of film go to see those films. The mass audience in America does not go see those films. Unless it has like an insane popularity, which was an outlier for them in A24, which was Everything Everywhere All at Once. It was a very different film for them. Had action in it. So that's why it did so well.
I don't believe it did well just because it had action.
Oh my
Same
God,
thing
that's
with same
not
thing
what
with
I'm
John Wick 4. John Wick 4 didn't just do well because it had good action.
But it's an action film, and so it's entertainment.
Right, but it's not just an action film. Neither was Everything Everywhere All at Once. Everything Everywhere All at Once is not just an action film.
I know that.
People didn't just go there to be entertained. That thing's deep.
No shit.
But you're saying that's why it did well.
No, I'm saying it did better because it had action.
I disagree. I don't think Everything Everywhere All at Once did better because it had action.
Normal people in Texas that don't normally go see A24 films were like, oh, I heard this is a fun action film. It's way more than that. Yes. But it did so well because, one, it was obviously fucking brilliant. But two, it had different elements that brought in people that aren't normally A24 fans. That's what I'm saying. You're just a fucking moron. Anyways, yes. To answer your question, Bollywood is scared. That's basically the what we're trying to get at here. Anyways, let us know your thoughts on the video and all this other stuff.
And obviously, we don't have any strong feelings about any of this.
Nope. Let us know down below.
Juice!